Hi, everybody, and welcome to So What Happens Next. I am one of your hosts, Thomas.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Patrick.
And we are here today to once again watch a movie that two of us have seen and one of us hasn't. So, Patrick, as the person who hasn't seen it, can you tell us what movie we're watching today?
Fucking Star Trek II, The Wrath of Motherfucking Khan.
That's right, we saw Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So, Patrick, any first thoughts on what we're going to be talking about today?
Well, after we watched the episode.
Oh yeah, did we ever? So that's right, we watched Space Seed, episode in season 1, I think, of Star Trek, the original series. A super steamy, but not really big climactic episode, if you ask me. But it introduces us to Khan and that glorious chest of his. But having seen that episode, Patrick, what do you think starts Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan?
Well, Jim Kirk, like an idiot, instead of killing Khan, banished him to some planet where he could thrive his community. And my guess is Khan develops technology to take him off their planet and then attack Starfleet and other planets.
Damn, that would have been kind of a neat opening. Like, give a scene of SETI Alpha 5 and Khan's down there working on a ship or some shit.
That's almost like the new Star Trek.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
That shit doesn't happen? Are you serious?
Oh no, it doesn't happen. It's I'm looking at my notes here. It takes a bit to Khan. It takes a bit to get there. Like we gotta be playing around with Kirk and all his buds. So yeah, speaking of the new Star Trek Kelvin timeline movies, this one opens up on, oh my god, this ship is under attack, and there's this random Vulcan woman just sort of sitting at the helm commanding the cast of the original Star Trek on what to do. So like Leonard Nimoy, old man, is just there. There's like maybe this 20-something-year-old woman who's sitting there like, do this, do that, and they're like,
alert, Klingon torpedoes activated. Alert.
Evasive action.
They're dealing with this situation. The ship is like under attack. They're like, they're opening fire. And then all of a sudden, the most glorious opening ever to a character happens where, oh no, it's a simulation. It turns out, if you've seen those new ones, it's the whole Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
Physician, heal thyself.
Is that all you gotta say? What about my performance?
I'm not a drama critic.
So, everything shuts down, the lights turn on, this open door, like the gates of heaven. It's the most over-the-top thing I think I've ever seen. And standing in the shiny, bright, white lights is none other than William Shatner himself, James T. Kirk.
As an old man?
As an old, fat, toupee-wearing man.
So what he looks like right now?
Well, not that bad.
No, not that bad.
No, not the Orbitz commercial fat.
No, he's not trying to sell you, like, flights. But he walks in, and he's just like, oh, surprise, audience. It's a test. It wasn't real. And it's just like, everyone's getting... Because you watch Spock die, and everybody get killed. And then Kirk just walks in, like, with a book, like Moby Dick or some shit.
Well, Mr. Southwick, are you going to stay with the sinking ship?
Permission to speak candidly, sir.
Granted.
I don't believe this was a fair test of my command abilities.
And why not?
Because there was no way to win.
A no-win situation is a possibility every commander may face. Has that never occurred to you?
No, sir. It is not.
Is he the only one that?
Oh yeah, that's right. They're like, oh, you're the
But he
only one that
cheated.
passed. Yeah, he cheated. If you spoilers, if you watched that new J.J. Abrams movie, they cheated, and they all know he passed, and they're just sitting there going, oh, you're the only person that ever passed this before. How did you do it? And he's like, oh, I don't know if you what you would call I doing past test. And it's just
Little shot of Alzheimer's here.
well, that's what this movie's about. It's about them getting old.
Admiral, wouldn't it be easier to just put an experienced crew back on the ship?
Galloping around the cosmos is a game for the young, Doctor.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
And just denying it. Because the next scene we get is like, oh shit, look at, it's his birthday. It's Kirk's birthday. And McCoy comes in and he's just, hey, Kirk, I got you this bottle of illegal booze.
Yeah, isn't it? Not Vulcan.
No,
but...
no, you're close. It's Romulan ale, which looks like fucking Listerine.
And apparently that's outlawed.
Mm-hmm.
Romulan ale. Why, Bones, you know this is illegal.
I only use it for medicinal purposes. I got aboard a ship that brings me in a case every now and then across a neutral zone. Now, don't be a prig.
2283.
Yeah, well, it takes this stuff a while to ferment. Here, give me.
But McCoy's just like, oh, it's all right. I got a guy. And I'm like, dude, you're a doctor. Who the hell do you have as your guy? And then he brings Kirk not just the booze. Can you guess what his other birthday present is, Patrick?
That dumb woman who cared for Khan.
Oh, no. That would be kind of a twist. No, instead, it's glasses. Because we live in the future, and the excuse is Kirk is allergic to the procedure that will fix his eyes.
Laser surgery.
Right? You would think lasers would be fucking involved. We're living in the damn future.
Damn writer should be poked off the cliff.
Oh, yeah. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? He's like, oh, well... He's like, yeah, normally at your age, I would suggest you get the whatever the fucking surgery's called. And Kirk just interrupts him. He's like, well, I'm allergic to whatever the fuck kind of surgery that is. And he's like, I know. So I bought these at an antique store. And he's like, oh, Bones, you shouldn't have. And it's just this rambling of like, I'm old and it sucks because I don't want to be old. And everyone, like, McCoy's just like, well, damn it, Jim, you need to get back out there into space. And Kirk's just like, I'm an admiral now. I don't fly anymore. It's just like, it's like an entire cast of people telling an old man he's not old anymore. And it's painful to watch because he fucking is. And they're just sitting there saying it to him, like, you need to get back out there. You need to Even Spock's like,
If I may be so bold, it was a mistake for you to accept promotion. Commanding a starship is your first best destiny. Anything else is a waste of material.
I would not presume to debate you.
That is wise.
dude, nope. You should stop. You should just chill at home. Because he has a pretty decent apartment. I mean, we see Kirk's apartment in this.
Apartment in the ship?
No, his apartment where they're drinking and wearing glasses.
Right.
It's just, he's so pissed off. So that's a good, including the, like, intro of this movie, solid 20 plus minutes.
Yeah, and then when do the opening credits begin?
Oh, the opening credits are the opening. That's how the movie starts. There is no cold open in this movie. It's just credits. Roll for everyone gets credits in the beginning of this movie. It just keeps going and going, and then they're like, "Oh, look, we're in a spaceship battle, but it's fake." And then finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, we cut to Chekhov on a new ship, and he wasn't even in the episode we watched it. So the Russian character, Chekhov, we cut to him, and he's down on some planet with his new captain, and they're monitoring for planets for something called Genesis, which you don't get told what the fuck that is for a while. But Patrick, if you were to hazard a guess what the Genesis device is.
Something that transform a normal human to superhuman?
Oh fuck, that'd be even better.
Come on!
Dude, I'm sorry. You're calling a better movie. Like, if they were... Oh,
everything you've
shit.
said so far has made the movie so much better.
Even just the opening. Just seeing Khan and his buddies. With what you see him in later, just imagining that when they're building weapons. And I don't know. Oh, you know, this movie could have started with, like, Khan, instead of him building stuff, if he, like, raided, like, Klingons or some shit. Like, he just attacks, and everyone's like, who the hell's doing this? Like, what's going on? That would be a cool fucking opening to this movie. Because then it could just become, oh, Kirk, you're available. We need you to go figure out who the hell's doing this. But instead, that's not the movie we have. We have Chekhov and guy who's totally gonna die eventually walking around this desert planet because they're like, oh, we're detecting signs of life and we're not allowed to use the Genesis device when there's life on the planet. So they're like, we're gonna beam down and we are going to go ahead and look for this life. And so they go walking around. They're traipsing around a desert in, like, these soda can looking spacesuits. Like, if it said Diet Coke across Chekhov's chest, I would have been like, that's believable. That I could see this in the future.
What the hell is that?
So they're running around in the SETI Alpha system. If you happen to forget where they leave Khan, we're not going to let you forget this time.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there, they're like, SETI Alpha, this is SETI Alpha 6, this is SETI Alpha 6, and they're walking around. And then before we get any kind of, like, anything about this, we cut to this doctor woman on a spaceship, or space station, I'm sorry, and she's talking to her son, and he's just yelling about everything in this movie. He's like, the military's taking our research. And she's like, chill the fuck out, Junior. I got this. And they're apparently the people running this Genesis project.
Every time we have dealings with Starfleet, I get nervous. We are dealing with something that could be perverted into a dreadful weapon. Remember that overgrown Boy Scout you used to hang around with? That's exactly the kind of man.
Listen, kiddo. Jim Kirk was many things, but he was never a Boy Scout.
So we're doing this, and suddenly we cut back to the planet. It's weird. And we get Chekhov and dude who's totally gonna die. They find these houses, and they're like, what the fuck? No one's supposed to be able to live on this planet. There should be, who the fuck has houses here? So they walk into the houses, and I'll give you 3 guesses on who lives in the houses.
Ricardo Montaltban?
Ricardo Montaltban, yes.
His chest, is in
Oh,
one.
we're getting to the chest.
Excellent.
So they walk in and they're looking around at shit. And the captain's just like, la da da, this is so weird. Where's their food? Where's their water? And Chekhov is staring at a belt that just says SS Botany Bay on it. And he's like, Botany Bay. Botany Bay. Botany Bay.
Botany Bay. Botany Bay. Oh no.
And then these like cloaked figures who look really badass, I think. They all got these like metal Michael Jackson-esque gloves on and these like hoods and visors, and they're just standing there in the house. And they're like, oh shit. And the captain has no clue what the fuck's going on. And it's where this movie becomes like Mad Max Wrathful Road for a minute, because they all take off the cloak things, and you just have everybody dressed like in Mad Max Fury Road. They're wearing garbage. And I'm like, these people are smarter than this. Like, they're superhumans. They couldn't make clothes, and they're wearing, but of course the chest is there. It looks fake as hell.
It's not a prosthetic.
It looks like it is. You don't see any nipples.
You do. It's like at the corners.
I don't know. I think it's part of the ropes. Because he's there and he's just like, because surprise, Khan's standing there. Yeah. And he looks so much better than he did in the episode. Like, he's got
nice
gray.
Tan.
He's got nice tan, gray, long, like silver mane hair.
Oh, because he's building his own buildings now, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's doing it. And he's just, you know, he's like, oh, you guys are Federation, and they're like, oh, the captain's like, who is this? And Chekhov's like, this is Khan, because you weren't there in that episode at all.
Yeah.
We sat there, watched it twice. Chekhov and Sulu aren't in that episode at all. And Khan even, like, he does this whole thing where he grabs this, for some reason, handle that's in front of the soda can spacesuit, and he picks him up with one arm. And he just goes, I remember you. And I'm yelling at you like, motherfucker, no you don't. You don't remember him at all. He wasn't even there. And it's just like, I remember you. How is Kirk? And Chekhov's like, Admiral Kirk is fine or whatever. And he's like, Admiral, yes. Like, you would know that?
I've never even met Admiral Kirk.
Admiral.
The best part, I like this part with the worms.
Yeah.
So you got worms. Okay,
movie.
we're gonna give you. They walk in, and there's a terrarium in one corner filled with moving dirt.
That's not a terrarium.
It's like it's a glass box filled with
giant
dirt.
glass full of like sand.
Okay, but it's moving. And the captain looks at it before Khan shows up. He's like, "Huh, what's this?" Whatever. And then like goes on with his day. So what do you think's in the tank, and what do you think it does?
It's the worms from Beetlejuice, and they kill and eat people.
Oh shit. No, I think this is one that's better than your thing. That's my opinion. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, especially when Khan explains it to them.
Oh yeah. So Khan takes some like tweezers, and he has his superhuman goons holding check. Obviously by this point they're captive, and he's like, oh, you ever heard of the the one living thing from SETI Alpha 5, which I guess we should backtrack and explain what the fuck happened here. So, they're like, you were marooned on SETI Alpha 5, and he's like, this is SETI Alpha 6, and Khan, in all of his overacting glory, just screams like a child. He's like, this is SETI Alpha 5! And they're just sitting there like, what? He's like, SETI Alpha's sun expanded and... Or no, he just says SETI Alpha 6 randomly blew up. Which, okay.
Yeah, within months.
Within months. So Kirk drops him off, and then like 6 months later, the planet explodes.
Well, how does he get to 5?
No, he's on 5. The one they think they're on explodes. And it shifts the orbit of 5 to where 6 was? And it also killed everything on the planet.
Yeah.
This is SETI Alpha 5!
SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after we were left here.
So the only living thing left is this fucking worm grub beetle thing.
That has apparently killed almost everyone.
It killed 30 of my men and my wife. And it's just like, really? And then he proceeds to say, we keep some as pets.
Allow me to introduce you to SETI Alpha 5's only remaining indigenous life form. What do you think? They killed 20 of my people, including my beloved wife. These are pets, of course.
Why? What the fuck? It's like, it killed 30 of my men, and it's also named Scraps. Like, what the fuck? So he's like, the young from this nasty grub worm thing burrow into living creatures, and they make them susceptible to suggestion, and then they kill them. Like, they eat their brain and kill them. So he takes Chekhov and the captain's helmets, and he drops one of the he like rips the babies out from like a fold under this thing, and drops them in their helmets, and puts the little soda can helmet back on. And you get this, like, it's really bad special effect, but like you get like this clearly like wax head, and it just like drills into their ear, and you get like fake blood, and they're screaming. And then they're kind of like hypnotized by Khan, who then gets them all up to their ship, the Reliant or something like that. So you get the brain worms, and then it's back to Earth to watch old people doing shit again. So what are we doing on Earth, Patrick?
Spock is about to push Jim off a cliff from crying about being an old man.
Oh no, that's Star Trek 5. You're getting ahead of yourself. It is. Watch it. There's a mountain climbing, and Spock and Kirk are...
Spock is ready to kill Kirk.
No, but he's giving him shit of like, why would anyone climb a mountain with no help? It's so dangerous. Because Spock has like floating gravity shoes or some shit. It's a stupid movie. If you think this is bad, that movie's really bad.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh, it's bad. But, you know, now we're getting... What happens instead is, as much as I wish Spock was like, I'm gonna kill you, Jim, turns out Spock's actually the captain of the Enterprise, and now, because everybody, like, moved up one rung, and he runs the Enterprise, and he's basically using it as a, like, cadet training ship. So he's training this new crew, and, okay, everybody moved up, except fucking Scotty, who's still hanging out on the Enterprise wearing like a spacesuit. And he's just like, "It's good to see you again, Captain." He's like, "I'm not a captain again, Scotty. I'm an admiral." He's like, "Aye, but you should be a captain because you're old."
What is the difference?
With admiral versus a captain?
Yeah.
Admirals don't fly. That's about all I gained out of this.
They're all about strategy.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're sitting in a booth telling them what to do. But yeah, so for some reason Kirk gets on the Enterprise to... I don't think they explain it at all. He's just there. And so is everybody. Like, the whole gang's on the Enterprise, and it's just like, we're all here to watch these kids get trained. And then there's this dude that's with Scotty, and he's just like there. He's just this tiny little guy. So this little guy is just like...
And who do we have here?
Midshipman First Class, Peter Preston, engineer's mate. Sir!
First training voyage, Mr. Preston.
Yes, sir.
I see. Well.
And he looks nothing like the little guy from the new movies.
I mean, he might. I don't remember.
Is he like a pig bean?
Oh, no, not the... You mean the little, like, gremlin looking?
Yeah!
Oh, no, this guy's a human. There's no one on this ship that's not a human except Spock and that cadet girl from the beginning.
Who is also Vulcan.
Vulcan. Yeah, they're both Vulcans.
Yeah.
So everybody looks the same. No, you don't get that cool little gremlin guy that's with...
That's what it should have been.
It should have been. He gonna look like that gremlin guy by the end of this movie, though, because he gets fucked up later on. He gets, like, burned alive.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
You can't fit into small spaces.
Well, I think that's what killed him.
Spaces.
He fit into a small space and got, like, incinerated or some shit. I don't fucking
Grows
know.
into a planet. SETI 7.
He is the Genesis device. Yeah, and you get some Vulcan jokes, as if ours weren't bad enough. You get some, like, other language shit that you're supposed to... I don't fucking know. They just talk to each other and they say something that's supposed to land like a joke, and then Spock and the other Vulcan woman walk away. So then they get this call to go... Oh, you know what they do? Kirk goes, "All right, guys, like, we're just going to take this ship just as, I guess, call it a training mission, but we're just going to fucking take it." And so he lets the cadet woman, like, kind of command it. And she goes, "Oh, okay, Sulu, like, where are we going?" Yeah.
Wait, they got cadets training.
Yeah.
But then Sulu...
Yo, no, the whole gang came back.
Yeah.
But they're all taking their old
missions? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They all get on the bridge, and they all go sit in their seats, and there's all these fucking kids just standing in the back like, "Boy, I can't wait for my turn." Like, no, you're not going to get it in this movie, guys.
And then there's guy that playing Gallico, right?
Oh, God, I wish. I'd rather watch 2 hours of a guy playing Galaga than some parts of this movie. Like, don't get me wrong, I like this movie, but this whole intro, like, the con stuff, out of the park. Because it's watching William Shatner and Ricardo Montalban, like, overact competition even more than space.
Yeah, like, that's
the best part. But when it's just Kirk and everyone groaning and they have to be in the same room with him, I could give a shit less about what's going on. But they joyride this ship. Because she goes, "All right, Sulu, take it wherever you want." And Sulu's like, "Oh my, yes, Captain." And just starts driving in, like, an arbitrary direction away from Earth. And everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, this is fine. No problem." We get a call from the doctor woman, who, again, if you've seen any of those new Star Trek movies, is the woman who's inexplicably undressing next to Kirk in the second movie.
Oh, Alice Eve's
Yeah,
character. Yeah.
it's her, but everyone's older.
And she's in charge of the Genesis.
There you go. Yeah, you're getting it. So she calls Kirk, and all she keeps saying is like, "Why are you taking Genesis from us?"
What's the matter?
Why are you taking Genesis away from us?
Taking Genesis? Who's taking Genesis? Who is taking Genesis?
I can see you, but I can't hear.
Carol?
Jim, did you give the order?
What order? Who's taking Genesis?
It turns out that Chekhov, hypnotized Chekhov, called him and was like, "We're coming to take Genesis. Sorry."
We have received new orders. Upon our arrival at Regular 1, all materials of Project Genesis will be transferred to this ship for immediate testing on CT Alpha 6.
Who in the hell do they think they are? Please be quiet. Commander Chekhov, this is completely irregular.
I have my orders.
Put him down, Mother.
Who gave the order?
The order comes from Admiral James T. Kirk.
Knew it.
I knew it.
And then she gets pissed, and her son's losing his fucking mind. So she calls Kirk, and of course Khan's like disrupting communications. So Khan's doing that. She keeps calling him. It's like, "Why are you taking Genesis? Why? And Kirk's like, "What the fuck is Genesis? What are you talking about?" And then, of course, it cuts out. So, what's happening next?
Cuts out to Khan having a little strategy session with his people.
Again,
about what to do next.
No, it's
Chekhov.
No.
Going to Kirk to get the Genesis.
It's fucking Kirk goes to Spock for like helpful advice that has nothing to do with this.
So it cuts her talking to Kirk about Genesis.
Yeah.
And then he just talks to Spock about some bullshit.
Yeah. He's like, "Spock, I'm just so sad that I'm old." And Spock's like, "Look, have no emotion, but
I'm incapable of
I'm
emotions.
I'm sorry. I'm
On the
incapable of
subject.
emotion, but you're being a fucking twat. Just be a captain." He tells him straight up, "Be a captain again." And then you get the like big line, which is gonna come back because they hang on it.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Or the one.
And you just kind of hear it, and they let it sit. But if you've never seen this movie before, you don't know what the fuck's going on, because they're just like, "That's a weird cut." And we go back to... Oh, God. We get, like...
Chekhov.
Yeah,
Khan,
well, it's like we get Khan
lady
or
scientist.
something. I don't even know what the fuck happened here. It's just like they go to the space station and you get Khan asking for Genesis, I think is what's going on. They're like, "We're not going to give it to him. Why don't we just get the fuck out of here?"
Does he do his pray?
Oh, Jesus. I hate how we don't get any... like, "Lord, give me strength" Khan shit in this movie. He's just throwing people around. It's like, dude, you had a show and you're fucking it up right now. I want to see you pray for that strength to open doors. Damn it. No, we get...
There actually wasn't a whole lot of Khan in the movie.
No, for a movie that's called The Wrath of Khan, there's not a lot of him. And it makes me kind of upset because the other part of it is I don't want to see this shit. Like, I don't want to watch old people complain that they're old.
All I want to see is chest.
Well, you get a good bit, especially at the end, but it's all like burned chest. No, but you get Khan overacting again, and then you get the biggest fucking data dump of what Genesis is. Gotta be 45 minutes into this fucking movie. Yeah.
45?
We're like a
minutes?
good bit. So what did you say, if you want to take another crack at what Genesis does? Because I don't think we answered it. I think
we didn't.
I could tell you it doesn't
Terminator
make superhumans.
Genesis.
Does it prolong life? Or is it a world killer?
Oh, well, you're half right on one of them. But what it does is you get this, like, you know, like in those old movies where they're like, this is a movie that the military filmed about this weapon. It's top secret. Don't show it to anybody. Or
Propaganda type.
Yeah. And you get one of these, but it's about Genesis, and it's Dr. RoboCop's daughter from the second movie that I don't remember. She's talking, and she's like, oh, so this is Genesis. It basically does like Genesis from the Bible. We drop this thing on a planet that has no life, and it just, poof, there's life on it now. And we tested it in a lab, and this phase 2's gonna be underground in a cavern, and then we're just gonna, like, fucking do it on a planet. And this is where you get, like, McCoy just losing his southern-born shit on this, because he's just like, what the hell's wrong with you people? He straight up says, God created the world in 6 days? Well, watch out. Here comes Genesis. We'll do it in 6 minutes. And it's just every fucking Spock and Kirk are like, oh, calm the fuck down. And
I don't like this Bones.
Oh no, this Bones is like racist and crazy.
Conservative.
It's bad. It's like, take what you saw on the show and just amp it. Because then Spock's like, well, you know, you're kind of being a bit ridiculous about that right now.
According to myth, the Earth was created in 6 days. Now, watch out. Here comes Genesis. We'll do it for you in 6 minutes.
Really, Dr. McCoy, you must learn to govern your passions. They will be your undoing. Logic suggests...
Logic? My God, the man's talking about logic. We're talking about universal Armageddon.
You green-blooded inhuman.
Bridge to Admiral Kirk.
And McCoy just goes, listen here, you green-blooded fuck! And he doesn't really say that. You might as well. Because it's like, whoever wrote this movie was like, oh, we want him to be, like, Southern and racist, but, like, we can't have him be racist against people. So, just
He's
yell
racist against Vulcans.
Oh, so hard. He's just like, you don't even fucking understand, you fucking green-blooded fuck, and he's pointy ears, and you piece of shit, and he's just freaking out. It's just so fucking dumb that they're doing this. So next up, they're on their way, because Kirk's like, oh, we're the people who are closest. Let's just go fucking take these kids, and let's just take the ship that's not ours, and just go fucking see what's up with Genesis. So they just fucking go. And Khan's like, good. He's on his way. And, you know, you get the Reliant meets them up halfway there or some shit. And Khan's sitting in the captain chair, all high and mighty. And they're like,
Wait.
Whoa.
When does the takeover of the Reliant happen by Khan?
You don't see that. It happens off screen.
Of course it does.
It happens somewhere between... You now have worms in your head, and we are coming to take Genesis. Bye. It's fucking. It just happened. I want to see that. I want to see him snapping necks and just blowing people out the airlock.
But again, it's all about Kirk.
It's what this movie is.
The movie is all about Kirk.
It's Kirk's old and he feels bad, so we're gonna give him a movie about it. It's like, oh god. So of course they end up fighting, and this is one of the parts of the movie where it's actually really cool. Is like you get this sort of like naval battle, ship to ship fight, and like they're blowing each other away, and you know, Khan calls Kirk, And Kirk's like, Khan. Khan? Khan. And of course, this is where, like, they have to out-act each other. So you're getting Khan telling him, he's like, I was doing some reading, Kirk, and I learned a thing about Genesis. And he's like, what's, never heard of it. What the fuck? What's that?
You still remember, Admiral. I cannot help but be touched. I'll agree to your terms if, in addition to yourself, you hand over to me all data and material regarding the project called Genesis.
Genesis? What's that?
Don't insult my intelligence, Kirk.
They manage to trick Khan by some, like, fancy maneuver or whatever, and they run away. I don't fucking know. They run away to the other side of the planet or some shit. They beat Khan back enough. And so Kirk's like, haha, I'm old, but I sure as shit beat that other old guy. And then, if PG-13 was a thing when this movie came out, this would have given it that rating. Because the camera, like, flips around, and it's the elevator. And there's big old chunky Scotty holding that little kid from the beginning of the movie, burnt to shit. Like, half his body's bloody and charred up, and he's crying. Like, Scotty's crying while he's holding this guy, and everyone's like, oh shit,
someone died.
Yeah, like, oh shit, that's real bad. Like, oh yeah, I forgot people could die when we're shooting at each other. And then you cut to, like, the med bay, and there's, like, all these charred up kids just laying there, and the little kid, like, the little guy grabs Kirk, and he's like, did I do okay, Captain? And Kirk's like, that'll do. It's like fucking Babe. He's like, that'll do, pig, that'll do. And the kid just dies right there. He lives.
Is the word given, Admiral? The word is given. Warp speed.
And dies. And they're just like, we gotta get Khan back for this. It's like, well, we need to figure out what Genesis is. And this is where the movie starts to get, like, all these really great scenes that you wish you got to see. Like, the fucking taking over the ship, maybe see what happened in that engine room when everybody, like, died. And then, you know what? This next thing, what do you think they find when they get on the space station?
Khan's already taken Genesis?
Okay.
This is just blowing my mind right now on how terrible it is.
It's a slow movie.
It is a very slow movie.
Well, because they do all this shit because they show up on the space station and someone freaks out because they're like, oh, fuck, there's a bunch of bloody hanging corpses in the room. And I want to see that part. I want to see when Khan did that shit.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're just coming in and of course you only see, like, their bloody feet hanging from the rafters, but they're just like, oh, that dastardly villain. And they're just like, what the fuck's going on? And they find, Chekhov and his captain man are, like, hiding in a box, like this metal box or whatever. But nobody knows they got worms in their brains, by the way. Everybody, like, we're not supposed to know.
Do they ever?
Oh, yeah, this is where they find out.
Okay.
Because they walk in and they find them and they're just like, what the fuck happened? And they're both just like, Khan's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, we fucking know. Like, it's not new. They're talking to him. They explain that Khan wanted Genesis and nobody was going to give it to him. So he just started killing these scientists one by one by one. And I'm sitting here like, man, that would have been great to see. Like, fucking interrogation of these people. So Chekhov and the captain guy explain what the fuck's going on, and then the captain, Chekhov's captain, looks at his wrist and he goes, "Did you hear all that, Your Highness?" or Matt, some shit like that, because they
Your Highness.
Is Your Highness?
Yeah,
because they like beam them down to the planet because they find out some of the scientists obviously escaped,
Right?
And they took Genesis with them. And so Khan replies, he's like, "I did, and that would be good enough." And Chekhov, and it's like double cross. Chekhov and the captain have phasers pointed at Kirk and the gang. And they're just like, "Put him down, we're going to kill you." And they're just like, Khan goes, "All right, Captain, kill Admiral Kirk." And it's like, but Kirk is Kirk. I could never kill James T. Kirk, because he proceeds, he's like screaming. He's like, "I want to, sir, but I can't. It's too ingrained." And he's just like, "Fuck it," and shoots himself, vaporizes himself.
Kill him, Tyrell, now!
Of course, you know he's gonna fucking die the minute he walks into this movie. And then Chekhov
Dude, it should have been "Love breaks all curses."
Oh my god. If it's like, "I'm sorry, Jim. I love you." And then Kirk's just like, "Bones, I don't know who the fuck that man was." But no, so he dies, and then you see Chekhov standing there, and he's like about to tell Chekhov to do it, and then Chekhov starts like screaming and holding his head and like flipping his shit.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Can't explain this. His brain's done. It's getting eaten. We're eating his brain." That's
He's
what's
got like maybe a half.
I don't know. He should, because he falls down and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, is he okay?" And they check him, and then like the little earworm crawls out.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gross as fuck. And then they just blast it, like they just shoot it, and they're just
wouldn't that mean there's no brain left?
I don't fucking know. I mean, he should have eaten his brain.
Just walls out.
Instead, it's just like, "Oh, ew, he's Russian? Never mind." And like crawls out of his ear. It's like, what the fuck is this? And so like Chekhov, he's like knocked out. Of course he's not dead. He's just knocked out. And then Khan beams the Genesis device up to his ship. And Kirk's like, "Oh, I gotta bait him. Oh, fuck. Oh, everyone wants to fight me because I'm Kirk." And he's like, "Khan, you don't have me. You don't have me, Khan. You don't have me, she." It's like borderline this weird mid-Atlantic accent thing he's doing. And he's like, "You don't have Khan, me. You're gonna have to come down here and fight me, see?"
Khan, you bloodsucker. You're gonna have to do your own dirty work now. Do you hear me? Do you?
Kirk, you're still alive, my old friend.
Still, old friend. You've managed to kill just about everyone else, but like a poor marksman, you keep missing the target.
And Khan's just like leans back in his chair. Nah, later. And just like leaves. And Kirk's like, "You won't kill me." And he like kind of stops and he's like, "You know what, man? I don't want to kill you. You didn't kill me. You left me on a fucking rock to die. So I'm gonna leave you." It's this great, like, fucking... I mean, this is, like, the scene everybody who hasn't seen this movie knows. Is he's like, "I'm gonna leave you there. Buried alive. Buried alive." And he just keeps repeating that. And then, of course, you get Kirk doing the whole, God! And it does this stupid, like, you know, in like a cartoon when someone yells and just like zooms further and further away. It's like Kirk's like, God! And then they just recorded that and played it again over the planet. Because it shows this like desolate rock of a planet. And you just hear, Khan! And Khan's like, peace, and flies away.
I shall leave you as you left me, as you left her, marooned for all eternity in the center of a dead planet. Buried alive, buried alive.
And then they're just like, damn, we're stuck here. And then Dr. Woman enters and is just like, well, since we're here. And they show him the underground Genesis bit. And from there, I would say, is where we'll get our climax. Weirdly enough. Because we hang out on Genesis Cave like 2 minutes and then we're done.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, yeah. No, it's... The Con is like peak movie. It's a roller coaster from here. So, for you it'll be a couple minutes. For us, it's gonna be a grand total of 2 hours and something. While we go watch Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And we're back. Yeah, that sums that up. You know, I'm a big fan of these movies, and I still gotta say, watching it again so soon after watching it before, when I watched it for the podcast, it's like, it's just not entertaining. Like, the bits where he's screaming are okay, but it's just like...
This was so bad, it's not a drinking movie.
I don't know when you would drink.
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't stop.
Yeah. It's that type of movie that makes you sober.
But yeah, so we got some facts about this movie now that we watched it all. So what do we got, Amber?
Okay, so Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, was filmed in 1982, and it has a rating of 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb.
Wait, so 1982. When did the last Star Wars come out? Because this is after, like, the first two. Oh, never mind. No, it's not. It's after the first. It's before the second one, but after the first one.
Yeah.
Still. We were talking during that movie. It's like, yeah, this is totally after Star Wars came out. Oy. So yeah, what's the verdict here? What did we miss, Patrick, that was so god important to this movie?
Honestly, I got nothing. I mean,
yeah,
he has a kid.
Yeah, that's something we totally forgot about because it's that forgettable. It does nothing to this movie besides make him go, I'm old, but I'm okay with it, so I'm young? I don't fucking get it. This movie's just... Objectively, this movie's just not good. And I'm sorry if that makes people out there, Star Trek fans, like, feel bad. It's a great movie for, like, those of us that grew up with it. It's fun. It's like a nostalgia thing. But sometimes you just gotta accept, like, it's not a good movie.
Yeah, like, it's not good for the time either.
Mm-mm.
A 12-year-old kid could have wrote a better script.
For sure. I mean, the stuff we were coming up with in the beginning of this movie was so much better than what was happening. I mean, like, Jesus, that's what I want to see. I want to see the movie where Khan, like you said, Patrick, is like flying around the galaxy with his gang of Mad Max people, and they're just destroying people on planets and trying to conquer something, and then that's the conflict. This Genesis device shit, I don't give a flying fuck about that. It's like only there to revive Spock at the end or in the next one. Yeah, it's just it. It's just fucking it. And I don't need it.
It's like they wrote it backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they said, hey, we want to make a movie where they go have to find Spock. And they're like, well, hold the fuck up. How the hell do we get... What do you mean find Spock? What happened to him? It's like, oh, well, he died. And it's like, well, how did he die? It's like, they fought... Who'd they fight? Klingons? No. Khan. Who the fuck is Khan? Well, you remember that? You remember the one episode from like 15 years ago? No, I don't.
How does anybody remember that?
Yeah, they didn't have. You couldn't watch it. It's not like now. We watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
They didn't have. I don't even think they had like VHS.
But like, how would you know when this movie came out?
I don't know. You're like a diehard fan.
Yeah, you'd have to be a diehard fan.
Yeah, because you're right. Like 15 years. You're not making this for any kids or anyone under the age of, I don't know, like 18. It's just, I don't like that. I just want a Khan movie. I just want to know what I want to see him dicking around on SETI Alpha 5, conquering the galaxy.
Catching those mindy
the brain
bugs.
worms.
Yeah, the worms.
Yeah, we got to see those.
Yeah.
Those nasty fucking things.
Maybe no shirt this time.
Oh.
We did see a nipple. We did see
we did see a nipple. And then we saw it charred to a crisp nipple. Oh. Yeah, sure. It's just like the movie's half Khan, but all chest.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath.
So that was Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Thanks for sitting in on that dull, slow ride through outer space and battles and watching grass grow, almost literally. Well, next week, it is Amber's turn to be the guinea pig who never saw the movie, and we were thinking we're going to do something special for the next one. Now, we've been doing it where two of us have seen the movie and one of us hasn't. Well, this next one's going to be a special treat. All three of us are going to go into this movie completely blind. It's Hereditary! All set to go. We have not seen this movie, have absolutely no clue. Yeah, so it's Hereditary. I think. Who's in it? Do we even know who's in that movie?
Toni Collette.
Okay.
And that's all I can
Yeah,
remember.
and then the Clicker Girl. I don't fucking know. I want to say I heard this movie has werewolves in it. Or witchcraft.
Also heard she should have got nominated for an Oscar. So.
Oh, bullshit. I heard this movie's terrible. I've heard this movie's boring as fuck.
Really?
Yeah. Well, then, find out what happens next week on So What Happens Next. Thanks for joining us. My name's Thomas.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Patrick.
And live long and prosper on.
Bye.